Right, it's a video for a Honda Civic. It's a 1.8 SI, and this is a 59 plate car with very low mileage. It's only done, I think from memory, 39,000 miles, sorry. I'll just double check on the way in, instantaneously forgot. Right, just to go around the car for you. Car's in lovely condition. It's been, basically this car's been serviced 5 times by the local Honda Bristol dealership, and is in really lovely condition. They look fantastic in red. This is Milano red, and it really does look great. Facelift model, so you've got the new style grille on the front now, and this is very similar to the kind of the Type S version. So this is kind of the sporty looking car, but still quite low on insurance. Looking around the bonnet here, there's a few very light little stone chips on there, which you're obviously going to get with any car that's sort of 6 or 7 years old, but they're actually few and far between. Let's come to the front wing on the offside here. Again, very clean and tidy. Front alloy, can't really see a mark on there, and the front tyre looks almost like new. Wing mirror housing and repeater, absolutely spot on. The panel work down the side looks very crisp and clean. And there's going to be the odd very light mark on any car, but there's a couple there, but they are for you. It's like just there to show you, just a light, but it should just polish off. But if you look down there, it's pretty much mirror smooth down there. Rear wheel, can't see any marks on that alloy at all, no corrosion, and again tyres in wonderful condition. Come around the back of the car here, you can see the SI badge and the colour coded parking sensors in there as well. Whilst I'm around the back of the car, just open up the boots as well to show you. Absolutely cavernous boots on the Civic. Parcel shelves there intact. 60/40 fold on the rear seats, and all the fabrics and all the plastics are in really top order. Power outlet up there, and down here, if you don't already know, you've got an extra little cubby hole underneath those. Drop that, pull that back, drop it down, and you end up with a good sort of 6 or 7 inches of extra depth in there. But it is a truly huge boot. Carry on going around the car for you. This is the near side of the vehicle. Again, very, very clean and crisp. Near side alloy on the rear, again, super condition, no marks on there, and again that tyre's in really, really good condition. I think the only exterior blemish I can see on this car, just here, just caught something and they've touched it in, so you can't really see it, apart from obviously if you now you know it's there, you will, but I like to point them out. But obviously at some point someone just has touched something, just put a little touch in there. It really is, it's a really striking looking car. And then final wheel and tyre, again absolutely tons and tons of tread, and I'm just looking on the wheel, can't really see anything. Well, there's a tiniest little mark, in fact that's coming off as I'm rubbing it, so no, there's nothing on there at all. It's just a little bit of sort of rubber or something. But yeah, externally the car's in very, very good condition, you know, as would befit its sort of age and mileage. Coming to the interior of the car now, we've got the offside rear driver's door card. Looks absolutely superb, can't see a mark on there anywhere rather. In the back here, back of the front seats and plastics, all in top order, and that's not a given. Quite often you find with your kids kicking the back of seats, you know, you find those can be marked and scratched, but they're absolutely superb. Likewise, door card on the offside there, near side, offside, correct, you can get it right, Tom. In top condition. Doesn't really look like anyone's sat in the back of this car very much. This also shows the rear seats in their upright position. This forms part of what they call the magic seats on the car. Really clever design. You end up with this huge cavernous space at the back. You just lift them up and put them down like that. To drop them down, lift the lever. It's as simple as that. Beautifully engineered. And you can see that the half leather rear seats there in absolutely superb condition. So coming to the front, driver's door card, again fantastic condition. Just to show you, these new facelift versions, they get a much better quality of plastic on here, so you get far less marking than you did on the earlier Civics. Car benefits from a full set of Honda mats. Sill area at the front is absolutely super, and driver's seats in very, very good condition. You know, looking at the bolsters, minimal wear, just got a tiny little bit where people just slide in and out the seats, but generally it's in fantastic order in here. Alright, so inside the car now, just to pan around this wonderful dashboard. So later facelift models like these get much better high quality plastics on them. That's in really fine order, really high quality controls. So 6-speed gearbox there. Cubby holes here. Just to pop this one up, and I don't normally do this. Later models get kind of USB leads and power outlets and auxiliary ports. This one's actually got a lead for the USB as well, for sort of any phones, or otherwise it may be compatible. Coming around and across the dashboard, fantastic 2-tier dashboard there, and you can go in there, just make out the mileage, 39,518 miles. But it really is in really nice condition in here. So finally, just to quickly show you the service history of the car. So it's a full Honda history, and you've got services at 5,740, 10,970, 16,017, 22,438, 29,706 and 36,681, all conducted by the local Bristol Honda dealer, which is the dealership where both myself and my business partner used to work actually. Right, this is a road test for a Honda Civic. It's a 1.8 SI, registered WR59RMY. Mileage at the start of this brief road test is 39,510 miles. Reason we do these road tests is basically because we're now selling to people all over Europe and the extremes of the UK. We feel it's right, if you're going to invest your time, effort, energy and money to come and see us, at least we can do is show you the car in operation, the very car you're coming to see, and report back anything we can find on the car. In terms of kind of any issues, to potentially save you a trip, obviously. Hopefully not. That's try and buy good cars. So, but in effect, you're seeing the car in operation. What I try and do as well is do it in the same kind of order you do it yourself when you come and see the car. And so I'd kind of mimic test drive you may do yourself. Test drive we'll be doing on roads. This is just half a mile from our new premises, so they're lovely quiet roads where you can get up to decent speed as well. So starting with the engine on the car, this is the 1.8 VTEC engine. Always, they're great engines, and this has been an unbelievably well looked after example. Fully serviced by Honda from new, our local Honda Bristol dealer where I used to work actually, and the car starts absolutely on the button. It's smooth as silk. It's a beautiful unit. When it revs out, it does so with a lovely raughty rev. I'm going to drop a couple of revs deliberately just to show you. But basically, foot down. It's just lovely smooth, even throughout its rev range. There's no fluttering at idle. It's a beautiful example of a really great engine. On these test drives I tend to average about 48-49 to the gallon. We only claim about 43 because that's so easily achieved. It's only if you're doing just purely town driving you might get less than that. But a wonderful engine, great example of one. The engine then obviously goes through a clutch through to the 6-speed box. The clutch is light as a feather, bites exactly at the right point on the pedal and bites beautifully. The pedal itself operates silently. There's no squeaks, clicks or otherwise when you press the pedal in and out. When I press the clutch in and out again, there's no discernible change in engine note. There's no vibrations or otherwise. The clutch then goes through to this wonderful gearbox. It's a classic Honda gearbox, brilliantly done. How they achieve it I don't really know. Basically it feels mechanical. It's got a lovely directness about the its gear change. Very easy to use, very easily defined gate that it's going into. So I'm just swinging around here for coming at the halfway point. But what Honda do, and this is actually quite hard to achieve, is basically to get a front wheel drive gearbox, which obviously runs cables now through to the gearboxes, but it just feels like the linkage goes straight into the box itself. It's just got that lovely, it's got a real precision about it that, you know, Honda achieve where other manufacturers really do struggle with it, notably kind of French cars and Vauxhalls. They can have quite vague, notchy gear changes. This is just like flicking a switch, and it's so easy to do. It's so confidence inspiring. You know, even when you're trying to sort of rush a gear change, you're not sort of bolt. It just finds its way home every time. You just literally, you know, you can do it fingertip. It's just so nice to use. As I'm driving at speed now, I'm just listening out also for kind of wind noises that shouldn't be there, where you might have a broken seal or otherwise in the windscreen or windows, and there's none at all. It's very, very quiet in here. Tracks absolutely perfectly. There's no hint of any vibration back through the steering wheel of the car. And likewise with the steering, again, when I'm driving a car, even with low mileage like this one, sometimes a used car, if it's not been looked after, they can just, you know, it'll still steer perfectly well, but they'll have a kind of a looseness about them. But this is absolutely as tight as a drum. You move the steering and the car's going instantly. It's absolutely perfect. It's a brilliant power steering system on these cars anyway. Incredibly well judged rack, so, you know, as you turn, the whole car moves into motion. It complements the chassis perfectly. It's a very, very sharp car. The chassis of the vehicle, suspension, again, rides really nicely on roads like this. This is its natural domain, really. Tight, twisty corners, A roads, they absolutely love them. There's no clonks or bangs or little aftershocks when the suspension does its work. There's no kind of shudders which suggest any wear in the system. Likewise, you get these little resonances, little clatters from anti-roll bar links, which are designed to wear, but there's not even a merest hint of anything on the car itself. Brake pedal, I'm just going to quickly just give it a dab. Just, yeah, right at the right point, the perfect pedal on the car. There's no pulsing back through the brake pedal, again, which would suggest distorted brakes or discs, and it pulls up nice and straight. Inside the car, you know, this absolutely brilliant dashboard. This is the facelift version of this generation Civic, so this benefited basically from a revision of the interior plastics and the quality of them. So the majority of the plastics have been improved to be more resistant to kind of light scratching or otherwise. So on these ones, this point here around on the dashboard, that used to be kind of a shiny material, which was very nice to look at, but, you know, rings and nails could mark them. They could look a bit grubby after a few years. So this has got this new finish, and it's all the better for it, really. As I look high up, you've got the clock and the temperature and the radio display up high there, and it's absolutely perfect. There's no pixelation in there at all. Radio, wonderfully simple to use. It really is fantastic. Just big, nice controls with the old gits like me, and it's just everything's got a wonderful quality about it. Come over to this side, and this is my favourite part of the dashboard. You've got this two-tier dashboard, just brilliant. I mean, it's not only is it fantastic to look at, especially at night when it's all illuminated. As I'm driving now, I'm looking at that white car in front, I can see I'm doing 51 miles an hour whilst I'm looking at the car in front, and that's the purpose of it. So we've got a high-up display. I'm not going to nod my head down to take in information. By the time you put your head back up again, you know, things can happen very quickly, as we all know. So it just works just so cleverly and brilliantly, and it's all beautifully assembled. Next to the speedo, you've got a little rev display and an economy light on the right hand side. Just tells you how economically you're driving the car. Then we've got this more conventional binnacle further down, except in the steering wheel there that I can see straight through. It's kind of like a hologram effect. You've got this display system that stands out proud from the rev counter. Rev counter itself is big, bold, really easy to use. To the left of it, you've got the temperature gauge, which, as with all the Hondas, should be around about a third of the way up the gauge at normal operating temperature. And that's exactly where this one is. And to right of that's the fuel gauge itself. But every single switch I've pressed, every single one has worked absolutely perfectly. You can tell it's been looked after by the main dealers. I mean, it really just feels just incredibly tight. It really does.
worth pointing out, we do on the adverts, hopefully, or try and remember to, that the obviously VTEC engines, you've got a genuinely powerful engine. It's 136 horsepower, so it's pushing that decent power, without having any turbos on it. There's nothing complicated on the car, which they're fine when they're new, but we all know they're problematic further down the line. These are about as bomb-proof an engine as you'll ever touch. They've got no cam belts, so there's no cam belt service. It's a cam chain, so there's no scheduled change for those at all, and we've never done one on a car, even with sort of some huge mileages on them. They take their mileage in their stride, as long as you just service them as Honda recommend, not necessarily by Honda. They're wonderful people. They're quite expensive, but they're looking after them. The car will look after you, give you absolutely years and years and hundreds of thousands of miles of service. It's a wonderful engine. But the whole car drives really nicely. It's just got it's a very high quality machine. But what I love about them is the fact that you've got a car that's genuinely interesting. A lot of the cars in this price range will be kind of normal, worthy family hatches, but they get you from A to B, and that's about it. But this next couple of corners actually shows up just why I love the chassis and the steering of the car. Just going through a little bit quicker than I would do normally. As you turn the wheel in, the car just sits lovely and flat, holds its trajectory. There's very little fuss mid-corner, it hardly moves. And you're not winding a load of steering on. This is a horrible off-camber corner. Again, go a little bit quicker than I should. Just pitch it in, and absolutely brilliant. It really is a lovely engine. Chassis on the car. And what that means is basically, if you've got kids in the back, you use it as a family car. They, driving at more moderate speed, certainly, they're just not getting flung around, compared to some, softly sprung ones, which can be initially comfortable, but on longer trips, far less so. But anyway, I hope the video has been of use to you. If I've missed out anything on this video or in the advert of the car, please don't hesitate to call us. Otherwise, I can absolutely, hand on heart, say that the car drives, absolutely superbly. And if there was anything to report back detrimental, I would do so, and I have done so on my previous videos.